Welcome to Peaceful Oasis Live. I'm David.
And I'm Tamara. So glad that you're here with us tonight. So let's say a loved one, a coworker, somebody that you know has just been diagnosed with cancer. What do you say? Our communications expert, Charmaine Hammond, is going to help us with just that. So don't go away.
The following program is presented by Loving Meditations.
Unwind and transform your mind with Peaceful Oasis Live, the concert series hosted by Tamara Green and David Dashinger of Loving Meditations. Masters of mindfulness, music, and storytelling transport you into a state of deep relaxation through soulful conversations, calming meditations, and expansive music, all brought to you live. View past episodes and sign up to get upcoming events and inspirations delivered to your inbox at peacefuloasislive.com. We appreciate you, our viewers, supporting our mission for peace and calm. And we're back as my earpiece is falling off. Charmaine Hammond is a speaker, best-selling, and award-winning author who has worked for many years in the mental health and resilience sectors. Around the world on huge stages, Charmaine speaks on communication, conflict resolution, collaboration, and compassion. And seriously, David and I have seen you on stage a number of times, and you're so heart-centered that I think compassion really is exactly what comes through every time we hear you speak. So happy that you're with us today, Charmaine.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. And I love being in your presence. You know that, both of you. So really appreciate you bringing me on this evening.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So let's start with your cancer experience, your journey. You're a breast cancer thriver. So do you mind sharing what that was like for you and tying in what this topic really is about, how people dealt with it and how you dealt with it?
Thank you. Well, 2018, I actually came home from an event that we were all at in California. And I literally wasn't home a week and found a lump, immediately went in, and I sort of knew what the diagnosis was, but just something in my body said something is really, really wrong. And I kind of mentally prepared myself and was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. And immediately you're forced into so many decisions and so many emotions. And even though I had worked in the mental health field for a long time, and I had talked to people, I had friends who had dealt with cancer. Man, oh man, it's it's different when it's your own experience. I decided pretty quickly to do what I'm calling a private journey, and what I mean by that is I decided that I really wanted to just share this with my family and some really close friends. So I didn't want to be talking on Facebook and social media about what was going on. I didn't want to alarm a lot of the corporate clients that I do training for, because in the early days, I didn't know what treatment was going to be like. I didn't know how energetic I didn't know how well I would feel. So there were so many unknowns, and I decided to do this kind of quiet personal journey, right or wrong, good or bad. It was the journey I chose. And I think that's one of the things I wanted to say right at the beginning, is that people, when they have any kind of a health diagnosis, they're going to choose their journey. And it's so important that we honor that for them.
Absolutely. And I'm going to add to that, Charmaine, that how important it is to share it, explain it with your loved one, the one who may
Yes.
be, caring for you during this process, because that having that understanding behind that decision can be very helpful for the caregiver, right?
So true. In fact, Christopher is my husband. You both know him. We
Yeah.
were talking about this not long ago, and he said something that just, even now as I'm thinking about it, is kind of sending chills around my body. He said, Shar, while we both went through your breast cancer, our experience was really different. And it got me thinking that he was seeing me in, like, I had seen after my first surgery, I hadn't seen it. It was covered up, and he was doing the bandage dressing changes and all of that. So he saw things in my body long before I did. And so I started to see, wow, there's an impact on our caregivers that I couldn't even begin to understand. And the other thing he said that just blew my socks off is he said, Shar, you only saw yourself when you looked in the mirror. I saw you 24/7. And it was like, oh my goodness, I never thought of that. That, I would see myself when I'd fix my hair, do my teeth, put a little bit of makeup on, but he saw me at intervals during the day. And so I think his experience was so different. And I loved the fact that the oncology team, where I had my chemo, when they would say, how are you doing, Charmaine? The oncologist would then sit down, look Chris right in the eyes, and he'd put his hand on Chris, and how are you doing, Christopher? Like
Wow.
the attention to him was incredible.
That's amazing. And we don't
Yeah.
always hear that at all. So that's
No.
so cool that
Yeah.
happened. Wow.
Yeah. And well, it got me thinking too, wow, we need, the caregivers are a significant part of the journey. And they're often, I think, dealing with things. I can speak for Chris probably here, is that, they're coping in a way that's probably private from me, because he wants to be there as my support. So who is their support, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do run a weekly cancer caregiver support group. And they talk about, how much the caregiver really is on their own journey, because they really are. They're going through quite a bit of stuff, confusion or guilt. Oh my gosh, so much guilt or
Helpless,
anger.
feeling helpless. Like, I don't know how to take
Helpless.
this away for you,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, it's very important for the caregiver to have that wonderful, looking right in the eye from the professional. That is just so wonderful that that Chris had that experience.
Yeah, and he still does. When we go back for our 6-month checkups, the oncologist still does that. Like, he is as concerned about the caregiver as he is the patient, and that for me was
great.
just incredible.
Yes, it's wonderful. Mm-hmm. And I'm curious about this because you're a resilience expert, and once you were in this cancer journey experience, what did you keep, kind of keep your resilience practices and your, knowledge and use it, or is it something that you had to come back to later on?
I'm chuckling because I had to come. It was like, Charmaine, you need to be practicing what you teach. So, so that was a really good lesson for me. To come back to what I know. So once I got through this, I need to be, listening to what I teach. It was like, I know some skills that can help me right now. And I tested some skills that I thought, oh, I need to tweak these. The one thing that I did know, because life really changed. Prior to that, I was on the road speaking at different events and conferences, working with clients, facilitating training sessions. And then I wasn't going to be traveling, and turned down a lot of work because I didn't have the energy. I didn't know how I would feel. Didn't want to cancel at the last minute. So life really changed. My routines changed, and I didn't realize what a creature of habit I am. I really love routines. I love change, but I really like routine. I like structure. That was kind of out the window. Getting used to sleeping in a recliner chair for 6 months. So my husband and I, I slept in the recliner, and he went to bed or, crashed on the couch beside me. And so everything changed from the moment I got up until, the following day. There were some things, though, that kept me inspired. And one of them, besides Chris, obviously, who was and still is my rock, my dog, Toby, who, interestingly enough, this Toby in my life, I've had 2 Tobys. This Toby was not a therapy dog. We tested him to see if he wanted to be a therapy dog. No, he just wanted to love people, play with them, and that was it. He turned into a therapy dog. The moment I came in from the hospital, he would not leave my side. And it's only now, almost 3 years later, that it's like he's learning that he doesn't need to be there. Even when we go to bed, he might start off on the floor beside Chris, And as soon as I'm in bed and he knows kind of my routine of tucking the pillow under and getting comfortable, he's on my side. So on the floor right beside me. So we're having to train him that the little role he took on, not with me asking him, it's okay for him to just be Toby now. So there was a lot of changes in our family, including the dog.
Isn't that something? Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of the time we got a therapy dog for David while he was going through treatment. I think the therapy dog was more anxious than...
He was a young golden retriever.
So cute, though.
But yeah, it was wonderful, and this was an interesting solution to one of the things that comes up when we receive a cancer diagnosis is that family, friends, acquaintances, coworkers, they all want to do something. Yeah. And in the case of some of my family members, they wanted to do something, and these were not, things that they were offering were not practical or really useful. But when Tamara thought about it, wait a minute, they've had experience with training guide dogs. They must have connections to therapy dogs. And so she set them on the mission of finding a therapy dog. So they were thrilled to have that, something they could do to contribute. And it was a win-win. We had the dog come over to the house and got to enjoy him. So sometimes we have to be creative when folks want to help.
Exactly. And let's talk about that piece. So what was it like? You called it your private journey. Is that what you called it?
Yeah, like a private journey, yeah.
So with the people that you did share it with, or maybe even later when it wasn't like such a private journey anymore. Obviously it's not. We're talking about it. Give us some examples of what are the things that you heard that you found to be very helpful and maybe not so helpful.
Yeah.
Or maybe the other way around.
Right. Well, when I told my family and close friends, I mean, unconditional love and support was what I received. I come from just that kind of family, and my friends are that way. So I kept the circle small, but I had to ask them to keep the circle small. So this was not something that I then wanted them talking to their, connections about. And they all honored that, which may not have always been easy for them, because then who is their support? Like that who is the support question just ripples down when there's a health issue. But they honored that, honored that. And my mom and dad came out to visit. They live across the country from me. And then mom flew out for my last chemo treatment. And I realized that it was important, just like you said, David, where people that love you and are in a big part of your life, they want to have a purpose in that. Yeah. And sometimes we don't even know how they can help. We don't even know sometimes what we need on a minute-to-minute basis. And so that was one of the things that a learning for me is that, if I were to look back and do something maybe differently, I would actually consider that earlier. I just didn't know what I didn't know, but I would consider, like, what is the role that the people I've invited to be on this journey with me, what is the role that they could play? Like, where I actually create this, this environment where they have better clarity. My mom coming out for that last treatment, I think, was incredible for both of us, and just to experience that together. And there was many things that my circle said that were helpful. One of them, which I just love telling people, is that a lot of times people will say, I don't know what to say, Shar. Like, I don't know what to say. I'm here for you. That's perfect. That can be it. That can just be it. I had somebody, a trusted friend, say, Shar, I just don't know what to say. And then there was silence, and that's okay. Just being there in silence. Our mutual friend, Yvonne Heath, always talks up about just showing up. Yeah. That's a great act of showing up. We don't have to have the right answer. We don't have to have something to take it away or make it better. The other thing that really helped was that when people wanted to play a role, so a lot of times people say, let me know if you need anything. I didn't have anyone really say that to me. People said things like, I'm going to the grocery store. What could I pick up for you, Chris? So it wasn't like I'm going to ask you yes or no. And then if I didn't need anything, I could say no. So actually not saying, What is it I can do? Instead, replacing it with a possible solution. I'm going out on errands today, Charmaine. What can I do for you and Chris while I'm out? And then we might say nothing. We're good. Or can you pick up my dry cleaning or whatever it is?
Right.
The other thing that I found very helpful was honestly just these heartfelt sentiments. Like one of my friends ordered like a week's worth of this yummy food that got delivered. I didn't even know it was coming, and we didn't have to cook for a week. And that was just lovely, and the food was scrumptious. Little cards. My best friend, my lifelong friend, Roseanne, sent me these cards, and she's a beautiful artist, and just this heartfelt gesture. And the phone calls and the texts, things like that, where we didn't have to talk about cancer even. We could just talk about normal stuff. Those were things that were really helpful for me.
This is great.
Yes. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in a minute with Charmaine Hammond right after this.
The doctor told me the answer, and now my head is spinning. He said I'm living with cancer, and my journey is just beginning. I'm stressed out and afraid. I have cried and I have prayed. Time to quiet my mind and be still. Take a deep breath and just chill. I put in my earbuds and decompress. Touch play on the app to ease my stress. I'm choosing peaceful relaxation with loving meditations. I'm loving meditations.
And we're back with wonderful Charmaine Hammond. Charmaine, I would love to hear more about you wear many hats. You're a communication expert, but you also have this piece in your speaking and in your workshops that you put on. There's always this sense of relaxation that is a piece with everything that you do, everything that you teach. And I really want to kind of hone in on that piece of it. So why do people need to be relaxed or chill, maybe to say or offer the most helpful thing to a cancer patient or to whatever it may be, to be more resilient or whatever that is? What's your understanding of that?
I think part of what happens is when we have that sense of relax or chill, we show up more from the place of heart than we do from our head. The way we talk to people changes. The way we communicate non-verbally changes. We connect with people on a different level, but it also puts us in a place, and this is really important, when we can be a little relaxed and calm and not in our head, we can actually just be there with people more comfortably. We can tolerate things like silence. We can tolerate things like not having to have all the answers. And when we're in our head, we're so often scrambling for the right words, scrambling for an idea. And sometimes cancer patients don't want to hear all the ideas. That's part of, I've shared this with you early on, part of my journey not going on social media is I didn't want to hear what people thought of my treatment options. I didn't want to hear things like don't use the toothpaste, it'll cause cancer, or don't eat this food. I didn't want that. I just wanted to focus on my health. And so and then the relaxing for people in your life, that state of relax actually allows them, I think, to feel that they are supporting you more. It feels like there's less pressure for them, because I'm sure as a support, and I've certainly had some very, very dear friends and family members that have gone through cancer, and some have passed away. And, people don't know what the end is going to be. Like, people aren't sure what this journey is going to end up like. And they're managing their own fear of what this is going to be like. And they're managing fear for you, for the cancer survivor, the cancer thriver, the patient. So they're managing a lot of fear, and that sense of calm allows them to cope more effectively with it and not feel things like guilt or the things that aren't going to help them.
Beautiful. And you actually have a special relaxation story for us. That's what you call it,
Yeah,
right? A
yeah,
story?
I
Yeah.
do.
And we would love to hear that now if you're ready
Oh,
to
I
share it with us.
am. And I'll give you some background. This story was actually written in 1997. And it was so fun for me, for both of you, when you said, would I be on here? It was like, oh, I get to pull out a story that I wrote so many years ago. And I read it and I thought, I really like this. And it felt good to read it. And I lived in northern Alberta, Canada, where we watched the northern lights, the aurora borealis, all the time. It's one of the most beautiful things. So that's what I'm going to talk about tonight. I'm going to read you my relaxation story called Dancing on the Northern Lights. I'll get the glasses on so I can read the words. All
And
right,
ready to start the music then?
we are.
All right.
The Northern Lights, otherwise known as the aurora borealis, are a natural beauty, and they seem to occur on cool, even cold, clear evenings. The northern lights are usually different shades of green. However, a rare treat is to see the lights take on shades of pink, orange, and purple as they light up the sky. Northern lights come in many shapes and sizes, colors, and patterns, and these lights make beautiful formations, and they look as if they are dancing across the sky. In this relaxation exercise, you'll be able to take a journey to the north where the northern lights radiate the sky as they dance across the heavens. So just take a moment to roll your shoulders, sit or lay down in a comfortable spot, knowing that you're safe right there where you are. Everything is perfect. Close your eyes. If you want to keep them open, you can do that too. Relax and just focus on the story that is about to unfold and the music that you can hear. It is best to enjoy this journey in comfort and in silence. So as you close your eyes, you feel your body begin to relax. Your muscles loosen, your shoulders move down, your body just finds its groove in the position you have found. Listen to the sound of my voice, knowing that you are in a safe place and everything is okay in this moment. Let your muscles release the tension from your body. Feel your breathing begin to slow. Listen to your breathing. Notice your breathing. In and out. Quietly breathing in and out. Imagine that you are leaving this room. You're safe, you're comfortable, and you find yourself sitting on a wooden dock or a bench at the lake. The dock or the bench is sturdy, it's strong, it's sitting inches above the water, and the water is warm and peaceful. As you're paying attention to nature, you smell roses, maybe it's lavender, and freshly cut grass. There's a gentle breeze and a faint noise of crickets, frogs, and birds in the background. As you sit or lay there, enjoying the sounds of the water and nature, you look up to the sky and you are immediately mesmerized by the northern lights that have started to dance above you. Imagine in your mind laying back on the dock, watching the heavens above you dance. Your journey begins now. As you watch the northern lights dance across the skies, you are feeling relaxed. Starting from your toes, the tip of your toes, you notice all the tension leaving your feet. You're breathing quietly, in and out, in and out. As you move up your legs, you notice the tension from your legs releasing. They feel relaxed. Your breathing is quiet and gentle. That warm summer breeze is blowing. You feel your hair move. You're relaxed and comfortable. And now all the tension is leaving your back, your stomach, and your shoulders. All the while you are breathing in and out. Noticing the sounds around you, continuing to relax even further. All the negative thoughts that might have been in your mind are leaving. They're disappearing into the wind, into the northern lights, dancing across the sky. Your eyelids feel heavy as you relax even more. In the next part of the journey, you can choose to remain where you are sitting or lying down on that dock or bench, watching the dance in the skies, or you can just imagine yourself choosing one of those green lights, northern lights, to dance with. Gently, smoothly, and quietly, you are lifted to the sky, through the clouds, higher than the birds fly, far above the earth. As the northern lights begin to dance faster, so do you. Feeling relaxed, you look back to the dock and you notice everything is fine. As you continue to dance and twirl, spin and sail through the skies, holding gently onto these beams of light, green, pink, purple, you find yourself feeling relaxed and peaceful. As you touch those northern lights, they begin a graceful dance and change colors for you. Take a moment to appreciate this dance, the colors, the relaxation, the music, the noises in nature around you. And in a moment, I'll be calling you to return. As you take a deep breath and let it out, you feel a smile come onto your face, noticing that it's almost time to return. But before you finish this journey, think of one special northern light or one special thought that will remind you of this place, this dance in the sky, quietly saying it in your mind. The northern lights are bright and they're continuing to dance as you start to come back. You're getting closer to the water. The lights appear smaller and smaller in the distance. You've come back through the clouds. The birds are flying. The flowers still smell. You still smell the cut grass, and you hear the water, the ripples of the water. And as I count to 5, you can open your eyes, and when you're ready, take a deep stretch. Smile. Remember all of the special details of your dance with the northern lights. If you want, you can also draw this to remember it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You can open your eyes and you can return there anytime you want.
I loved that. It's a interesting combination of that kind of dancing, playful energy, but yet floaty, so relaxed energy, and the that piece at the end, I'm not even exactly sure. I was so absorbed in my, I guess, visualization of dancing and floating with the Borealis. But there was a phrase there at the end that you asked us to remember or something, and I was just like, I am the center of my joy and of my peace. And it just felt so good to kind of even recognize that, that it's not that I was dancing on it. It was just in me, and
Right.
it was the center of me. I don't know how else
Beautifully
to
said. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, that was really lovely.
Thank you.
We have a lot more great stuff to talk about, and amongst those topics is this great movie that you're a producer of called Back Home Again. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll dive into that as well.
Great.
And we're back with the wonderful Charmaine Hammond. Charmaine, in the social media that I subscribe to, it's blowing up with posts about this movie called Back Home Again. And I know this was a really special project to you on a number of different levels. I'd love you to talk about it. We do have a trailer clip. Just let us know when you want to play that. But talk about how it came into your life and your role in making it come to reality.
Oh, I love talking about this. You know that. So the relaxation story that I just shared, Dancing on the Northern Lights, I wrote when I lived in a community, Fort McMurray, Alberta, Canada. So it's northern Alberta, beautiful community, long winters, and lots of beautiful northern lights. So I lived there for about 16 years, and I left the community, but was still back there all the time working. And in this time of me not living there, there was some horrific forest fires that happened in 2016. And many people around the world heard about the Horse River, the Fort McMurray Wood Buffalo wildfires. The entire community of more than 80,000 people were evacuated for a number of weeks, many of them for months and months and months, and some didn't return to the community. And people from around the world came to support this community. After the fires, I was actually brought back into the community by the school boards and by a number of nonprofit organizations to work with the community around their resilience building and the recovery efforts, and a real honor to go back and be a part of that. And of course, I still have many clients and friends living there. While I was there, everyone kept saying, "Do you know Michael Mankowski?" His name kept coming up. No, I've never met him. You've got to meet Michael Mankowski. Because I'm an author, people thought, you've got to meet this screenwriter. He's got this great project. So Michael and I went out for a quick bite to eat and to meet each other. And he shared this screenplay that he had written. And it was about the Fort McMurray wildfires. But really, it was a story about hope, community, and a conversation starter for mental health. And I've been working on the project ever since, which is almost 5 years. And this animated movie, 30-minute movie, award-winning, I can say now, by the way, because it's won a couple of awards through film festivals. This was born, and I know when we see the trailer, you'll see a number of names that you all are familiar with in terms of the talent. And they came to this project to donate to to volunteer and donate their voice and time to this project. So Michael describes this movie that he has written as a project of love, a love letter to his community.
Yeah, and you're being modest, but the cast of this movie is probably the most amazing cast I've ever seen of talent, comedic talent, and voices like Ed Asner, who is just the best. I mean, he's God after all, right? So
Right.
it's,
Incredible
is
talent,
this
you're
a good time to play the trailer?
I say play the trailer.
Okay,
Absolutely.
let's do it.
Wood Buffalo Forest is still evacuating and still under the constant threat of the beast. Everyone who lives there was forced from their homes as crews continued to do their best to stop the flames from spreading.
Oh man, it was like something right out of a movie. Whoosh! You never saw anything like this in your whole life. As I was swimming, right, I could see the beast stretch across the side of the pond. The flames were they were as high as the trees.
Coined the beast, it devoured everything in its path, destroying homes within minutes. Nothing stood a chance against the beast's power. Over 88,000 animals were forced to run for their lives.
There are many animals calling you firefighters heroes.
All the emergency responders, the police, volunteers that have left their homes, they are the real heroes to me.
Back home again, back home again, back home
We will rebuild and we will be stronger.
to the hills and stones and streams, back home.
In showing us the worst, the beast brought out the best.
Back home again, to the heartscape of our dreams. Back home again.
The cause is unknown, but officials have ruled out lightning and say it was likely caused by human activity. Go figure.
Can you hear meow?
Loud and clear.
Meow?
Start anytime.
Meow?
There's one moment in that clip, in that trailer. Every time I see it, I think it's so brilliant. The elephant's flowing water on his fire line, and the water runs out, and he does what we call in the fire service adapt and overcome, and he puts water on it through his trunk. It's just such a brilliant little moment there in that clip. But you must be so proud and feel so thrilled to see this come to fruition after your background with Fort McMurray and the whole resilience piece to it. How's it feel to see it come to reality?
I think I don't know how many times I've watched the trailer. I often play it just on loop because I love the music. That's Jeremy Renner singing, and the original song is just so beautiful. Like it speaks to resilience and connection and friendship. I'm so proud to be a part of this, and working with Michael has been just an incredible experience. He's a brilliant screenwriter. He's an incredible animator and storyteller. You know, we've got animators that worked on this project from around the world. Many of our cast were affected by the wildfires later in California. And one of the things that's important to this movie is that, and I know I've shared this with both of you before, but I thought I would share it here, is that it was partway through getting this movie to life that I actually found out about the cancer diagnosis. And this movie and the creating of this whole project was actually a big part of my healing journey. And this gave me something to look forward to every day in times where I wasn't able to work, I wasn't able to do the things I normally do. And just even if I could just do a little bit on this project, it gave me something to be joyful about. And the big lesson was the importance of purpose and passion in our life. And, this movie is just rooted in collaboration. The cast all donated their time. Our team have been working endlessly, contributing, volunteering their time. And we have so many partners and organizations and nonprofits that have come on to be a part of this. And so when Michael created this to be a conversation starter around community hope and mental health, that's what it's really turning out to be. And we're so proud of that.
And who watches the movie? Are they school children? Because I know you're very connected with the schools. Or just, is it on a platform like
Not
Netflix?
yet, but it will be. Well, we're not sure where it will be to anyone listening, if you know anybody. But right now it's released. We wanted to do the film festival circuit, so we actually premiered at the Edmonton International Film Festival in Alberta, Canada, won 2 awards, the Jury Award for Best Animation Short Alberta, and then also won the Audience Choice Award, which was so cool for documentary short, or documentary animation. And then we were in another film festival, and now we're working towards that gradual release of bringing this into schools. We've been doing a number of private screenings and now doing community events. And what I love about the release strategy for this movie is that wherever possible, we're building what we're calling panel conversations. So when people watch the movie, it's 30 minutes. So when they watch it, perhaps having a conversation with Michael and I, bringing in one of our partners from Canadian Mental Health Association or Paul Davis Restoration, Canadian Red Cross, to talk about how we cope after disaster, how do we build our resilience, connecting people to their own local resources. This is really important. And that's why these panel conversations are important. And then in schools, imagine in schools, I know, David, like with your background, children are, it's so important when children meet first responders in the school, when firefighters come in. And so we envision, as this rolls out to schools, being able to have firefighters or police officers and the mental health workers, maybe the school counselor, all join in the conversation, because we know that when children see something and learn something in school, what do? They often go home and tell mom and dad over the dinner table. Alternatively, when moms and dads watch something, for example, a lunch and learn in a workplace, what do? They go home and tell their children about this movie that they just watched for families. So we thought that if we look at it from the children's perspective and the parents' perspective, we'll be able to help families engage. And the movie is really a family movie. It's a movie that was meant to be watched with someone so that you could talk about it.
Yes. And from experience, doing fire safety presentations for first graders, we found that they would go home and teach their parents, you need to change the batteries in the smoke detector, you need to have an exit plan. So it's an incredible educational tool, and also for kids to see first responders up close and personal. So if they ever do have an emergency or need to call on a first responder, that they're not intimidated or scared. It helps break down that barrier as well. So it sounds like a wonderful initiative.
Yeah. And I love hearing your passion around this too, Charmaine. It's contagious.
Like, I just want to tell the world.
I know. And to come full circle, I can't help but, especially when I was really watching that wonderful trailer again, I can't help but tie in, the cancer journey, and then the Fort Myers, and how many similarities there are to these huge challenges that come into people's lives, and how you deal with it, how you remain resilient, and it's just a good reminder to like you were saying, have that passion, have that purpose, and just have your heart, be the one that leads you to your everything through it all, through your
Through it all,
journeys.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you raised that because we were talking to a group that we had done it was a group of high school students, a youth council that we had done a presentation to, and then another group of students, and then a group of volunteers. And one of the things that came out loud and clear with this movie is that it gave people something to talk about, because with mental health, and both of you know this from your careers that you've worked in, your backgrounds, it's so hard for people sometimes to know what to say, to check on a colleague or a family member. Are you okay? People don't know what to say. So these conversations don't always happen, and they need to happen. And so we're hoping that this movie will kind of reduce some of the stigma or discomfort for people so that they can have the conversations that matter most and are mostly avoided.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, besides this amazing movie, what can you tell everybody listening what you offer, and how can they reach you?
Thank you. Well, one of the best places to reach me is raiseadream.com, and also on social media. I do all our social media. So when you're on any of our social media sites, that's me that's answering. And some of the things that I love doing and I'm passionate about is providing speaking and training to organizations, community groups, nonprofits, and even schools. I do a lot of presentations around resilience and collaboration and communication. So love those opportunities, and I share a lot of that information on our socials as well.
And again, I'm going to say you're really one of the best presenters I've ever seen on stage. Seriously, your heart comes through, and you just feel warm and fuzzy, whatever it is that you're teaching us. And you have so much to teach about communication and conflict resolution, and how to lead your business through compassion first. Just all of it, Charmaine, is you're just such a jewel in this world. We're so happy that you came and joined us today.
Thank you so much. I just so honored to be here, and always enjoy being in your space. And I also want to say that you two were people that I told fairly early on in my journey as well about cancer, and your app was unbelievably healing for me in the clinic. So I wanted to share that publicly, that I love what the two of you do to help people through some of the toughest times in their life, and the work that you do is important and it matters, and your app is just incredibly supportive for people.
Well, thank you so much, and it's been an absolute joy to have you with us on the show, and can't wait to see where our careers and our paths intersect again.
Yes, yes, they always do. Yes,
exactly.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks again. And everyone listening, please join us in 2 weeks when we have an amazing violist who will be joining us, Dr. Karen Olson. And she's going to be talking about using sound to embrace cancer as your teacher. So you don't want to miss that one.
She's an amazing musician and uses interesting things to create sound besides the viola, but she is absolutely a virtuoso on the viola, and she will deliver a 20-minute sound healing concert that she created that's quite remarkable. So don't miss that.
So thanks, everybody. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you next time. Bye.